try to figure out how they want to combine with it. But Polar Bear Bunny, tell me a little bit about your experience with Dab. As someone who you're not new to Super Metroid, but you don't have like years and years and years of experience. So what is it about Dab that you found kind of fun or neat when you participated in the tournament?
My favorite thing was really, I think, some people got the hang of it, and maybe a lot of newer runners didn't, but it really allows you to kind of choose to play to your strength. Obviously, you're forced a row, but you have a lot of options when it comes to choosing your routing and what you pair with your row. So I like that I kind of had the option to do strats that I was confident in, instead of kind of floundering and trying to do things that were maybe too difficult for myself. I really like strategy and kind of the thought process of Dab. I don't know what you think, maybe since you were the champion, what you think your best advice to runners would be when doing Dab.
Actually, I totally agree with what you just said. If I were going to give newer players advice, I would give them the advice that is exactly what you just said, which is that sometimes it's not about trying to find the absolute fastest, row or column in theory or whatever you want to complete. A lot of times it's finding the right things that go with skills that you feel you have and are comfortable with. Trying to do something on the fly. I'm sure you would back me up on this. Trying to do something brand new that's difficult on the fly, especially in a race in front of people, uh, can be very challenging. So, find the things that work for you and kind of play to your own particular strengths.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to be stuck in a situation where you're trying a strat that maybe you're very new to, or trying a route that you're new to. Like, I know a big deal was whether to go up to the wreck ship or go down to Kraid first, and a lot of newer runners have a hard time going up to the wreck ship first, getting the CWJ, fighting Fantoon with low energy, that kind of thing. So we saw a lot of that in the tournament, and I think something like that takes a lot of practice, that maybe some people don't realize. I also find that you kind of need to, when you're choosing your own row, it's really kind of bad to switch your decision kind of in the middle of the race. That can hurt runners as well. I think when you make a decision, you kind of have to go with it, even if something out there might be more optimal. I think by the time you see that, that won't be the case anymore.
That's a great point. It's good, in my opinion, especially by the time you're on the way to bombs. Like by the time you're kind of getting done with the climb, you kind of need to know what you want to do and just roll with it, for better or for worse. Because changing in the middle can be really a very damaging decision. But what I've done here is I've put in the bingo card into the chat. I know we still can't see the one on the restream yet. Hopefully, we'll get that taken care of soon. But you guys can see what the seed is, and I've assigned column 4. There are some really nasty things on this card, but part of the reason I decided to do 4 is because we very rarely see Ridley in double anti-bingo, and I really wanted to see how they would decide to route their beams and ammo to go kill Ridley. Plus, I think if I recall correctly, because I'm not looking at it right this second, but they also have to end in the wreck ship energy tank room. So I'm kind of curious to see
Like
how they do that. Yeah. So 25 super missiles means they're going to have to really think about which supers they want to pick up, and they got to defeat Crocomire and Ridley. So this should allow for some interesting choices. If they want to like risk it for the biscuit and go down and try to kill Ridley with just Various Suit, technically they can do that with this particular thing. But again, it's not something I would. Looking at this card, Polar Bear Bunny, and I know I'm kind of putting you on the spot just a little bit because you have to look at these things for several minutes to figure out what you would potentially want to do. But seeing that I've assigned column 4, are there any, maybe not rows or columns, but just tiles that stand out to you that you feel like would kind of go well with?
I was just thinking that I feel like I don't have the right card up. So you assign column 4, skip gravity suit, 3 plus E tanks, 25 plus super missiles.
No, I don't think so. I'm using the one that was given to me in the chat. Hold on, let me send it to you. Look into the race chat.
I had that one pulled up on Bingo Sync, and it's different than that card. Let's see.
In the meantime, we got Mass Hysteria, who stopped to get the criteria map station there, and then now Aussie is a little bit ahead of him, but Mass is now going to be rolling into Terminator. Aussie is getting ready to start his Green Brinstar visit. I'm sure he'll stop and get some early super missiles here, and who knows what else he'll decide to get. Let's find out. We are hoping to have the card up on the screen in the near future. In the meantime, here I can send it to you via the chat. Just give me one.
I like that you picked column 4 because there seems to be a lot of Meridia business on this card, and I think generally if you're going to go that deep into Lower Norfair to defeat Ridley, you don't want to dip too much into Meridia.
That's true. They got to pick and choose exactly what they want to do with the Meridia stuff, which Meridia kind of has a big impact on how you run these cards, because there's not very many where you can wholesale skip Meridia, so that means that you're pretty much almost forced to try to get Gravity Suit most of the time. I believe both of these runners ended up grabbing the reserve tank here behind the early supers. Well, it looks like Mass Hysteria is not going to get it, but they definitely grabbed some regular missiles as well, so I think they might be getting ready to get some missile packs, especially in Brinstar. Looks like Aussie's going to attempt to do some moon dance here. I haven't seen anybody do that in a race yet.
I have not seen that yet in a dab race.
I have not either. That should be interesting. But that'll allow him to clip down to power bombs earlier.
Hey, if you're good at it, I suppose you might as well.
Oh, that I just noticed what you said. Yeah, it's interesting. The cards look a little bit different for some reason.
Yeah, I was gonna say like a few tiles are different than
that's
on
weird
the
because I should probably go ahead and take the blame for this, but I just clicked on the 2 links that were there. Basically, this is the first time that I've been in charge of running one of these things, and I've never done it before. But like, there were only 2 links in the commentary like restream thing or whatever, and I clicked them both, and these were what they pulled up, and they were very, very similar. Like, there's only a few parts of each one that are different. I don't really get that.
I wonder. It kind of seems like we've got some like newer tiles replacing some old tiles.
So let's explain what Ossie's doing here. Ossie was doing what's called a moon dance, and what he's trying to do is do several tiny moonfalls all in a row to store up enough, like basically charges to clip through the bottom of Green Brinstar Tower, so he can get down to some early power bombs. It's a move that we've only seen in a real category that actually saves time. We've only seen it in RBO.
I'm glad you could explain it because I have no idea what he's doing. Alright, let's see which way Mass Hysteria decides to go. Going down.
Yeah, I need to double check here on the links because again, I'm just going to need to apologize in advance. What they are working on, to my knowledge, is different than what you guys see on your screen. And again, I don't know what I did wrong. I'm sure I did something. I don't mind taking the blame, but I need to go back and double check because it might have been that I was supposed to change like the numbers or something. But all I have is the link to the direct bingo card that was sent to them, which is the one that I put in the chat. And then there's a different one that's in the tracker. So I don't really know how that happened, but let me go back and check. You can just keep on doing the normal commentary. Pull the rewind, please.
I'll keep doing my thing. I will focus on the correct card then. So what they are really attempting to do is column 4, but that first tile is actually defeat Crockmire and Ridley. So I think going down and getting Varia as Mass Hysteria is doing is kind of the main call here. Oh, Aussie did get his Moon Dance, by the way, picking up those supers. Mass Hysteria already had 30 missiles. So I wonder what that means he might be doing. Could very well be doing row 1. But it'll take a little while to see, I suppose. Now Aussie, with his power bombs, Intel can begin his cleanup of Pink Brinstar, which has a lot of ammo items that they might want to collect. They do need 10 plus power bombs, 25 plus super missiles. So I imagine I'll be pretty much cleaning up this entire place. The force line was column 4 for both of them. Necessary picks up his various suit. And another missile for Aussie. And I'm still kind of trying to decide what I like to go with this row. Generally, it's called anti-bingo. Because you get to choose a force line for your opponent. However, for this little showcase, Kip took it upon himself to choose a line that both the runners have to do, instead of them picking for their own opponents. Still kind of a funny name, I think. Double anti-bingo, but it works.
I think we've figured out what the issue is. It's actually something kind of small. Basically, it has to do with like we got the correct links, but for some reason, um, the seed numbers don't match between the two different types of cards anymore. Apparently, like they used to, or something. And so I think what is happening is the runners were given like one of the old cards with the same seed number, whereas the new seed number on from the new place, which you guys see on the tracker, is a little bit different. And does that kind of make sense? So anyway, they are currently running on the assumption that they're running from the old card, just because that's what they're running on. So we'll see if we can get the correct card onto the tracker.
Sounds good. Alright, that is 10 power bombs for Aussie. They are going way too fast for my little hand. Mesosteria did not collect Ice Beam on this way through, so that might mean he's not going to do row 1 like I thought. Aussie's still not sure what he's gonna go ahead and do. Skipping Spazer.
Okay, so Polar Bear Bunny and chat, there's no way around this. I'm just going to have to call an audible, okay? So there's no way for us to get the actual correct card onto the screen that you guys see. So, and I know that that's unfortunate, but I'll just take the blame for it because I should have, I guess, figured out that the runner should have been given a different card from a different location prior. But anyway, so here's what we're going to do. You guys are looking at the card on the screen. They're not running that card exactly. They're running a slightly different one. I'm going to link the card they're actually running in the chat for you guys to pull up. We're going to keep tracking Polar Bear Bunny. I know it's going to be hard, but we're going to try to keep tracking the squares that they complete that they're actually running in the same place that they would be on the screen, if that makes sense. So we can actually kind of see how close they are. And hopefully, I know that's not perfect, but that's probably the best we can do at the moment.
Alright. I will do my best if you do your best.
No, I'm not going to do my best, but I appreciate your best. Actually, tracking is not my strong suit. This is the first time I've ever tried to track and put all this stuff together, so I really appreciate the fact that you're sitting here carrying me right now. So let me link what they're actually running in chat so you guys can pull it up, and then we'll just keep on tracking the.
I'm sure my count here is not going to be perfect since I was looking at the cards so much, but so far, Mass Hysteria already has at least 50 missiles, and I know that Aussie has about 35, possibly more. Has Charge, has Varia, so I'll go ahead and mark that spot for both of them.
Excellent. And again, the cornerstone kind of square of this whole thing for everybody is the column 4, row 1 slot here is defeat Crocomire and Ridley. It's not actually skip Gravity. So that's the one that's kind of the cornerstone of this, trying to make them go down to kill Ridley and then figure out, what they want to do in Meridia along the way.
Alright, Mass Hysteria officially cannot be doing row 1. I don't know if you've thought about much what you would pair with this.
No, not a ton. I've been thinking about the seed number mostly, but
I have been too. I can't even.
Yeah, I don't know. It just really depends. Like, I would probably try to avoid the wreck ship reserve as much as possible. That one is one that's always super slow. But at the same time, I don't know if I would want to do anything in row 1 either, because I wouldn't want to skip the speed booster typically.
Okay.
So, and you can't do column 1 or row 5 because that has finish at landing site on it. So basically, 3, you got column 1, row 5, and bottom left to top right. All 3 of those are completely out. So your choices are actually pretty limited on what you can pair with it.
That is very true. I don't know. I know Massasteri went into the room. I can't quite tell yet whether he actually skipped high jump or not. So that's a tile on there. Aussie just picked up his ice beam. So maybe he's going row 1? We'll have to see.
Yeah, it looks like Mass is getting ready to fight Crocomire here. And Aussie's going to be grabbing his high jump boots. My assumption, we'll have to kind of wait and see, but my assumption is that Mass Hysteria is probably going to kill Croc and then ignore the grapple beam. So I assume he'll try to grab this energy tank once he kills Crocomire, and then he'll probably bust out of here. But we'll see what he does after this. I think he's probably going to go get Gravity before he decides to attempt to go kill Ridley.
He might get the power bombs too. Maybe.
That's a great point. Yeah, that would be something that would be good to get here in this specific location. I think they got to get.
I think row 1 is pretty good for Aussie. All he has to do now is get the Norfair reserve tank, which he has to get anyway. Has to get, I think, 1 more super missile pack. And then just finish by getting the Alpha and Beta Brinstar power bombs. As long as he skips speed booster, then I'm pretty sure that's what he is doing. And Croc's down for Mass Hysteria.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to get a nice Shine Spark across here.
Beautiful. That's kind of a tough one. They make it look easy, but I don't know.
I agree. One thing I really like about Dab is that, there's all kinds of ways to play Super Metroid, regardless of what you're doing, whether it's a randomizer, double anti-bingo, vanilla speedruns. There's just so many ways to play the game. And one thing I love about double anti-bingo is since it's based on vanilla item placements and routing, you really get to try to use a lot of different types of strats from all the different runs that can be helpful across the entire race. So it's kind of cool. Sometimes you're doing some any percent, sometimes you're doing some hundo strats. It's pretty cool.
Absolutely. I love seeing all the strats. I love seeing the runners kind of get to show the tricks that they're good at depending on what categories they like to run the most. Alright, I'm gonna do a quick little scan of the card here and make sure I'm not missing anything.
Yeah, once again, let me just tell everybody in the chat, we had a little bit of an issue with the seeds, like not syncing from 2 different websites correctly. So we're really sorry. What you see on the screen right now, I'll explain it every few minutes in case we have new people. What you see on the screen right now is not the card they're running. The card they're running is the one that I've linked in the chat, but we're going to keep tracking the one on the screen, in terms of like syncing it with the one they're actually doing, just to show you what they've actually completed. So as of right now, I don't believe, I'll have to double check. I've been kind of back and forth from multiple cards, but I don't think Charge Beam is a relevant tile on the card they're actually running.
Yep. Yeah, I didn't see if Massasteri actually got charged or not. But yeah, on our actual card, where a few tiles are different, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's funny how a lot of the tiles are the same, but then some of them aren't.
Yeah. I think most of the tiles are the same, but there's just a few that are a little off. So let's see. Marked on here that Mass Hysteria did do the criteria map station, so I wonder what that means he might be trying to do, or if he kind of did it and then had to change his mind.
Yeah, it's a good question because he can't do row 5, but it's possible that he didn't realize that until afterwards. Sometimes you think like, oh, okay, I want to do this one, and then you look and you're like, oh, I can't finish in multiple places at the same time.
Right.
Basically, they have to finish in the wreck ship energy tank room. That is actually a tile on their forced column that you guys can see. That means that they cannot do finish in landing site or Crade's room, whatever that is in the very bottom left. So they can't do row 1. Excuse me, they can't do column 1, row 5, or top bottom left to top right. So all those are out of the question for them to complete this one.
And his kind of he's collected a lot of missiles. He didn't end up collecting a lot of supers. There's 2 super packs in the wreck ship though. But that will not quite get him to 25. So I'm not quite sure what Mass Hysteria is trying to do.
Well, we'll see. My guess would be he's either going to double back to Brinstar and pick some up maybe after wreck ship, kind of like Hundo does, or he might be waiting to pick a few up in Meridia, depending on which Meridia objectives he wants to do. My memory's a little fuzzy because I had all this stuff memorized for the tournament a couple months ago, but since I haven't done dab in a while, I believe there are 3 different super packs in the Meridia. So he's got the option to pick up several of those.
That's correct. Now we have a completely different card on the screen, so that's good.
Yeah, I don't know what's up with that. That card is actually worse. The other card actually has several things that are the same. This one doesn't have anything. I don't know where that one came from, but that's okay.
Well, anywho, Aussie is going to get grapple. Let me see if there's a reason he would like that. He did, maybe to get him over the moat, because he skipped speed booster. So I can actually mark that tile for him. There we go. Even though no one can see it, I marked it. Yeah, well, that would be the case, chat, but the card on the screen right now is not even remotely close to the actual card, so Aussie is not disqualified.
I think the only person that's disqualified here is me. But that's okay. It's actually a pretty simple explanation. It's just kind of hard to explain. Basically, there are new cards and objectives that Lunaris has been working on. However, the seed and the site that the players were given is from the old method or from the old cards, and so basically, the one that's in Bingo Sync doesn't look like the same seeds that are in Bingo Sync don't look exactly identical to what is on the SG website. So anyway, it's just a small oversight and something we can make sure doesn't happen again. But either way, they're both trying to kill Ridley. Looks like Aussie is going to be going down to Lower Norfair with only the very suit on. I would like to point out this is very exciting and yet very, very dangerous.
Dangerous, yes. He could decide to get Screw Attack to help him out a bit. But Yeah, very astute Ridley with, especially with, not enough supers, which is higher DPS, a little bit easier to kill Ridley with supers than it is with just charge beam. Just charge wave beam, especially. um, he's gonna have a tough fight ahead of him.
Yeah, I believe in Aussie. I know he's very good, but it's gonna be tough. Oh, never mind. It's not gonna be tough at all because he's gonna have screw attack. So this should make things a lot easier in terms of moving through Lower Norfair and fighting against Ridley.
Without speed, he does unfortunately have to bomb jump up here, but he looks to be really good at the double bomb jump. So that'd be nice. And Mass Hysteria is gonna grab his gravity suit before going down to Lower Norfair, which is a safe bet. Still trying to think here what I would like to see Mass Hysteria do. They both don't have very many tiles up yet. Just little minor things that Aussie needs to do to clean up his tiles. Whereas Mass Hysteria, I don't know if it kind of seems like he plans to go pretty deep in a Meridia. He's getting that, let's see, so that's the same tile, yeah. He's getting that Wreck Ship Reserve tank. So I'm kind of thinking he's doing row 2. I don't know if
I'm going to take this moment just for a second in case we got new people, and I'm going to go ahead and relink the correct card in chat. Once again, I like to do this every few minutes, but we've got the card on there that you guys see now that we're tracking that's pretty close. There's several of the tiles that are the same. Obviously, the main difference... Oh, wait a minute. I think we actually have the correct card up there now.
We got the correct card!
Holy moly!
Holy crap, okay. This needs to be March for both of them.
We did it, everybody. We need to give some big ups to the folks at Speed Gaming for continuing to work on this, man. And I know it's hard, and I really appreciate them, putting in the effort to get that done. So thank you all very much.
Yeah, thank you. Very, very much. The thing I don't know is... Okay. I'm going to pull up the right bingo sync room here really quick. And get the tracking. The only thing is my tracking's not coming through on the screen now, so I don't know if we have a new bingo sync room or if someone else is gonna have to track it. Alright, Mass Hysteria is commencing his cleanup of Brinstar. While Aussie is doing his very difficult Ridley fight, but doing it extremely well. Finishing him off with his supers now. You know, I didn't think about that. He could actually get some X Factors in. I didn't see if he actually did end up doing that, but with the wave in charge, some people like to do X Factors on Ridley. Okay, we have a new bingo sync now. Very nice. Alright, and he's done with Ridley. Picks up that well-deserved E-Tank, and should be on his way back up now. I'm just double-checking the card, making sure I got everybody.
Yeah, thank you, Polar Bear Bunny. And that was an excellent fight by Aussie. Killing Ridley with only various suit is really tough, and he did a great job.
Yeah, only various suit, just wave, charge, and ice. I would have definitely died.
Yeah, I've died to Ridley a bunch of times with Varia only, like in some practice sessions and stuff. It made me think about whether or not I actually wanted to do it during a race or not.
Yep. I definitely have that issue. If I don't have my 30 supers or a full beam combo, I'm very hesitant to do it. Alright, Mass Hysteria making his way into Meridia, and I am confident that he's doing row 2, and I'm confident that Aussie is doing row 1. I don't know about Kip, but
yeah, you're the tracker extraordinaire, so I'm gonna trust in what you think there. But yeah, I think this just kind of goes to show you that criteria map station thing that Mass Hysteria did at the beginning. Most likely was just, my guess would be that he just didn't see, or didn't remember that he had to finish in the wreck ship room and didn't know that one of those was not available to him. So, because I doubt that he would have wanted to do. Oh wait, I'm sorry. He is doing column 5 or no?
I think he's. Well, he could do column 5, I guess. It doesn't crisscross, but it looks like it would be faster.
Also, I don't think we can give him credit for collect only one of the suits there because he has both, if I recall correctly.
Oh, now he has both. Yep, you're
So
right.
yeah, I think he is doing column number 5. So yeah, he actually did the correct thing. He didn't forget.
Well, heck, I guess I wasn't confident. It's not every day that people choose a line for themselves that doesn't crisscross with the line they're given, but it happens, and really to finish it out, he's got to kill Batoon, grab the Batoon E-Tank, maybe grab... Oh, and then finish in the wreck ship energy tank room, just grab that E-Tank, and that's his 8.
Well, he's still got to kill Ridley, right?
Oh, heck, he does!
So I think he's just employing a more sort of KPDR approach to this. I don't think he, kind of wanted to risk going down there with only various suit. And so I think he's going to complete killing Batoon here. And then he's probably going to go down directly to kill Ridley after collecting this energy tank. And he's going to collect 1 or 2 of the energy tanks down there as well before going to wreck ship.
Just one more. Yeah. Yeah, I think probably be faster for him to maybe get the Ridley E-Tank, and then he'll just have to enter the doorway to the wreck ship energy tank room, and then he'll be done.
For sure.
Hope I didn't miss anything. too big from him. All Aussie needs to do is get his 2 power bomb packs up here at the top of Red Tower. Also needs to grab the 2 super missiles in the wreck ship. And I don't have him marked good on missiles. Oh yeah, I do. I just can't count. But okay. So yeah, that's all he has to do.
That looked like a nice hundo slash potentially max percent GT code strat there. Doing the little ball bounce through those guys to get over to that power bomb.
Very nice. I love seeing like really excellent players just have like such fluid movement. It's so nice.
Yeah, just to kind of talk about Super Metroid for a minute. Obviously, Polar Bear Bunny, you know that I love the game. I've spent a lot of time playing it, but part of the reason that I can still play it and enjoy it is because of how deep the mechanics are, and it's just really a lot of fun to watch. Some of the best players come up with their own strats and just find ways to move through rooms and stuff. When the game is played at a high level, it is a joy to watch, not only to play but to watch as well.
Alright, Mass Hysteria collecting Ice Beam. Yeah, I think, I don't know when this game will actually end as far as finding new strats, new routes, and new ways to play. I don't know that it will ever end.
No, probably not. So wait a minute. What are we doing here with Aussie? He looks like he's pretty close. I would assume that he just needs to. He's probably going to collect the super missiles in here and then finish in the energy tank room. Does he have 60 missiles already?
Yes, he has 60 missiles.
So I assume he's got 15 supers and he just needs to get the 2 packs here and he's good to go.
That is what I have.
All right, that's a really well routed dab run there.
Yeah, chat, like, Space Jump is kind of the farthest, besides Plasma, Space Jump is the farthest out of the way thing in Meridia, and then defeating Ridley, which they are both forced to do, is the farthest out of the way thing in Norfair, so you wouldn't want to optimally, it's not optimal to pair those two things together, so I don't think that anyone's gonna go for the Dragon kill today. Just Ridley and Crockmeyer.
Yeah, Plasma and Space Jump is, if you can't avoid them, obviously you'd prefer to, just because of, as you mentioned, even Space Jump, you got to sit through. I mean, Dragon's one of the longest fights in terms of just you have to sit through a long cutscene, at the beginning and a little bit of one at the end. And then Plasma's even worse because then you have to kill Dragon, then track over there. So unless it's otherwise stated, most people do not choose to go to Dragon, as Polar Bear Bunny mentioned.
Yeah, the benefit to Dragon is it's closer and it's a little bit easier in most cases than killing Ridley. But other than that, it is quite slow. And you definitely don't want to have to do both.
I'd also like to kind of take a moment just to point out the same thing you were talking about earlier, Polar Bear Bunny, which is both of these runners, were forced to do the same column, but they both chose 2 different pairing rows or columns, and they picked them and they routed based on their, experience in the game. So even though Mass is doing something that in theory does take a little bit longer than the route that Aussie took, he's still doing stuff that he's comfortable with, that he knows that he can complete, as opposed to trying something that would be very unlikely to finish. So I think this is a good indication of showing both runners doing what they're comfortable with.
Yeah, exactly. I think I don't know a whole lot about either of these runners, but I think a lot of runners would have a hard time going down to Ridley like Aussie did with just Varia and the equipment that he had. So, like that might be more optimal, obviously. He's in the lead, but if you're going to go and do it and you're going to die 5 times before you finally get it, then obviously it's not optimal for you.
Right.
That's the big thing in dab. You really have to think about your strengths and what you're good at versus what's actually the better thing. And there is a finish for Aussie.
That's a dot done for Aussie, finishing in first place with an official SRL time of 45:28. Very well done. And really appreciate Aussie taking his time today to come race. Great.
That's an excellent time for dab.
Especially one that includes Ridley. Ridley is
Yeah.
always one that eats up a lot of time.
Oh, yeah.
Plus, one thing that I kind of wanted to see is, and this is part of the reason I chose column 4, is basically because I did not force them into Meridia in the forced column, as you kind of pointed out earlier, Polar Bear Bunny, there were some paths that still led to Meridia. For example, Mass Hysteria did, Meridia because he was comfortable with it and already had the gravity suit. But Aussie was able to find something that would save some routing into Meridia, but had to take on some extra risk. But he was able to manage that risk and pull it off. So it's really neat what you can do, like all the different possibilities of a dab when you really start looking at it.
Yeah, definitely. That's kind of the hope. If you can leave out as much of the big areas like Lower Norfair and Meridia, if you can leave out as much as that, or a bunch of that, then you're pretty much golden. Yeah, he didn't go to Meridia at all, I don't believe.
He did not. In fact, he never picked up the gravity suit either. He's still sitting there in that beautiful orange color.
I'm personally a big fan of purple.
Well, I think all the suits look good. I think they did a great job of designing the colors of the suits here in this.
Master, you're gonna fill up before he takes on Ridley. Let me see if he can get some more supers from these bugs. They're dropping him a lot of health.
Yeah, that's one thing I figured out. I don't want to go too deep on the theory here, but whenever I was training for the double anti-bingo tournament this summer, I did a lot of testing of, how many super packs, like if I had to kill Ridley, how many super packs would I want to pick up versus how many beams do I want to pick up? Because, you don't arrive at Ridley with the same item set that you would in a normal run based on what the card reads, And so filling up on these supers, supers are extremely powerful versus Ridley. But at the same time, if you collect too many of them, then you're running around for too long. So if you already have them when you get here, it's really good to go ahead and farm them up and use them on Ridley. They're extremely powerful.
Yep, and I think depending on what kind of categories you run for this game most normally, so if you're like me and you were basically just a rando runner, you're kind of used to being babied with a ton of super missiles everywhere you look, therefore not really having to ever have a hard time with Ridley. So then when you come into something like Dab, or when you switch over to any percent, you kind of realize that you're not gonna have a good time. So yeah, like me and I don't know, a lot of people who also do a lot of rando, we kind of had to change our mindset before coming in and doing dab. But I think if you did a lot of any percent, you're pretty much good to go for dab.
The lower percent you can do Ridley, the better off you are. just is always useful to be able to dodge Ridley's attacks.
Oh, looks like we got Aussie here. Aussie, can you hear me?
Oh, hey.
Oh,
Look at
hey.
myself.
Aussie, could we get you to turn your mic up just a little bit?
Picks up that E-Tank, so that's 8 for Masteria, so that. And Ridley down. So all he has to do is finish in the wreck ship E-Tank room. But
Excellent.
it's kind of far away.
Yeah, he's going to head that way. Aussie, if you can hear us, we'll go ahead and start doing our interview.
Is this any better?
Yeah, it's a little bit better. So, first of all, GG, thank you for coming to race today. And sorry about the small snafu on my part with the seeds. But so tell us a little bit about going to Ridley without Varia. That's always one thing I wanted to do in a dab, but never got a chance to in the tournament. It can be a little bit
Without
dangerous, but you
gravity?
got the screw attack. So tell us about that.
Without gravity, you mean?
Oh, with only Varia is what I meant to say.
Yeah. It just makes it makes a lot of sense. It's something that you want to do. Like you go down, you get Varia, keep going down straight to Ridley. But I find that I need like screw attack or something to be safe about it.
Yeah, I was very glad you picked that up.
Yeah, screw attack doesn't take that long to get, and with my route I skip speed, and so I would have had a hard time getting past all the key hunters without screw. Because with high jump and speed, then it's just any percent equipment.
Definitely. Yeah, and Mass Hysteria didn't pick up screw. He didn't really need to, but obviously his trek down here is going to be a little bit harder than yours was.
I just find that it helps avoid the enemies, and it helps save ammo if you have to kill the enemies. So
Yeah, that's a
screw
good-
is worth a lot.
So, Aussie, are you going to be at the Speed Gaming Live event coming up here in a few weeks?
Yeah, I qualified through the Link to the Past randomizer side.
Awesome. I hope that you signed up for both of the Super Metroid tournaments as well.
I have.
Excellent. So hopefully we'll get a chance to race each other at some point. Just so everybody out there knows, the SG Live event's coming up here. I believe it's October the 20. Let's see. It starts on the 24th, I believe, and ends on the night of the 27th. So there will be a bunch of tournaments for actually money. Most of the tournaments have, different size prize pools and different games going on. So it'll be a lot of fun.
And Dab should have one of the bigger prize pools.
Yeah, for sure.
That'll be a lot of fun to meet everybody and talk dab strategy.
For sure. And I got to get up on the new card. I think Aussie's done more new cards than me, so I don't really know what to think. What do you think about the way the old ones are versus the new ones?
So I haven't played Dab until like 2 or 3 weeks ago, where I started preparing for SG Live. So I haven't played many of the old cards. I don't know. There's a lot of overlap. The goal of the new cards is to replace some of the, or I guess just reword some of the tiles into something that's similar but has a different objective.
Yeah, it seems like some of the old tiles were just reworded or tweaked a little bit. Like, for example, the map stations. I think they now say that you have to actually activate the map stations. There are a few new tiles that are completely new, so that's pretty exciting. I haven't done any new cards yet.
Yeah, so like some of the new ones would be explore all of landing site map tiles or activate all the Meridia save stations.
Oh, jeez. That sounds like fun. And Dab, you can almost, it could almost never end with all the different tiles you could do.
Yeah, you can come up with some definitely interesting things. I'm kind of curious to see how it'll all play out. We're obviously still in the early stages of kind of testing what should be at what difficulty level and whatnot.
Mhm.
Because reading the card in Dab is, really the most important part, in my opinion. If you can read the card correctly and your opponent can't, you can overcome a lot of technical uh, skills. So it's cool to see all these new, objectives.
Yeah, like this column you selected, I didn't see it at first, but it makes a lot of sense after you gave it to me. Defeat Ridley and then go all the way back up to wreck ship to finish.
Yeah, and part of the reason I selected it, I'm not convinced that that's the single hardest on this card,
It's
but at the
kind of
same
mean.
time, I wanted to give y'all something where y'all could have some options for routing, and I wanted to leave one open that didn't have Meridia on it just to see if who would go there and who wouldn't. So it turned out to be great. We got to see multiple different routes.
Yeah, your
Yeah,
plan worked.
the way I was looking at the card, a lot of the rows have Meridia in it, and so you can pair them up with another Meridia-based row.
Exactly.
So you gave us the only Norfair and wreck ship one.
All right, there is the dot done by Mass Hysteria, finishing with a time of 55:56. GG, Mass Hysteria.
Yeah, GG, and thank you to Mass for coming in and doing this race. Mass is actually an IRL friend of mine. We've been friends for a long, long time since college, and he was willing to help me out and come be one of the people running today. So I really appreciate Aussie and Mass both being here so we could do this feature. And once again, big shout out to Linares for putting all this stuff together, and the fine folks at Speed Gaming for doing our restreams and everything. A lot of people behind the scenes making this stuff happen. So really appreciate everybody's effort.
Yeah, definitely. That was a lot of fun. Dab is my favorite, so I was happy to be here.
Well, I was glad that you joined me, Polar Bear Bunny. And you know what? It's not too late. You could go to Speed Gaming Live, and be in the Dab tournament there if you really love Dab.
I do love Dab, but
Maybe not enough to get a plane ticket, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It's a little bit of a trip.
Understandable, especially in the middle of the week. But I'm really excited about going to the Speed Gaming Live event just to play some Super Metroid Live. It's going to be a great time. And secondly, just to meet everybody. It's going to be really awesome to meet some of the other Super Metroid runners and just some of the people from Speed Gaming and other people that you've chatted with via Discord or whatever. It's going to be cool to hang out with everybody. So if Aussie's still here, Aussie, I'll let you have a kind of a final word here, and then Polar Bear Bunny, I'll turn it over to you to send us off.
All right.
Oh, I guess I like to re-thank Linares because he put in a ton of work getting Dab where it is, working on the new tiles, putting money towards the SG Live event. So he's done a lot for Dab, and I'll be happy to see you at SG Live too, Kip.
Thank you. Polar Bear Bunny, you want to send us off?
Sure thing. GG Austin, GG Mass Hysteria. Thank you, chat, for being here. Thank you, Kip, for setting this up. I hope you all have a nice day. And we will see you next